I was able to pay off $43,000 of debt in just 13 months using this simple strategy that I'm now helping other people do inside of my free personal finance community, Dollar Discipline University. But before we get into that, let's talk about how these videos are going to work, because I'm building that community in public daily with these videos, helping people just like you, someone maybe with good income trying to save money, pay off debt, but you don't know where your money's going at the end of the month. This is everything that I do inside the community. So first, we're going to go through some YouTube comments. Think of it like a YouTube Q&A to give you guys immediate value for sort of watching and sort of engaging with the video. Next, I have a segment, thoughts on my mind, to help you reach your financial goals faster. And we're going to, yes, of course, talk about how I paid off $43,000 of debt in 13 months. It's probably why you clicked on the video. And then at the end, we're going to be going through some community activity, things that are occurring inside the community that can help you reach your goals faster. Okay, so let's go to the YouTube comments. And there are no comments. So this is the part of the video where I just want to give back to you guys, but I don't want to waste too much time on that. So how did I do it? How did I pay off $43,000 of debt in 13 months? Well, let's draw it. Let's draw it, okay? So 43K in 13 months. Now, what I don't do is I don't guarantee timelines. I don't guarantee anything like that. But if you join the community, I have a lot of free resources in there and things like that, where if you, just from my experience, if you take action and you follow it, like, you're going to make some progress. I guarantee progress if you take action. I don't guarantee the results, because everyone has different resources, everyone has different, motivations and things going on in their life, right? So to guarantee that would be pretty tough. So what happened? Well, 10 years ago, I think it's safe to say that I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was struggling financially. I had no financial goals. I had no path to how I was going to improve. And I guess what's kind of embarrassing for me is I went to school. I got my bachelor's, college for accounting. Okay, so I went to school for accounting, and so the fact that I didn't know in my after I graduated college, my early to mid 20s, how to really manage my money, how to do the finances stuff, how to but all the things, right? I was telling myself I was good at all those things because oh, you went to school for 4 years for this one thing, and the skills are adjacent, right? It's not the same. They're on the same. They're similar, but it's not the same. But even still, I was like, oh yeah, you know what you're doing. You're fine. The actions I was taking did not align with the words that I was telling myself, right? So I was basically a fraud for a while, which is kind of tough to say out loud. Okay. So what really changed is about 10 years ago now, I was about to make the biggest purchase of my life up to that point, which is a new car. So it was a 2015 car. And I didn't have enough for the down payment in my checking account. So the day before I was about to buy it, and I had this strike of panic, and I was like, oh my God, the amount that I told them that I was going to give them, I don't have that in my bank account tomorrow. And we've already worked through all the financials, and the whole point of the monthly payment thing is based on the down payment. It's I'm going to screw everything up. I'm going to lose the car. I'm going to blah, 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 right? And not for nothing, but it wasn't just I was fun car shopping. My used car at the time had literally crapped out on me. And I knew that I was making enough money to be able to, bring on a car payment. But I was not being intentional or thoughtful about the stuff inside my finances. I was not aware of anything. So what happened? Well, I scrambled a little bit, somehow got some extra money, but the money wasn't going to reach my account because this was 10 years ago. It wasn't super instant or anything like that. It wasn't going to obviously hit my account until the next couple days. So I was walking in there on a Saturday with, a check that if they had cashed, it would have brought me in the negative, right? Kind of scary. So what ended up happening was they didn't love the idea. I was like, hey, can you just cash this Tuesday or Wednesday, please? Just please. They didn't love it, but I was able to drive off the lot with that car somehow. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever bought a new car, I'm assuming this is what happens. You go through, the checklist in your mind of when you're driving home of all the things that you want to play with. You go oh, hey, how can I go from 0 to 60? Or, when I'm on the highway, how do I go from 60 to 80 and see how it goes? Oh, let me test all these features, right? When you're driving or whatever. I was just sitting there just sulking, pissed at myself because I was like, man, this is so embarrassing that you didn't even know how much money was in your bank account. So what did I do? I um, I was like, you have to take some sort of action here to start fixing this. So the first thing that I thought of was like, well, if you didn't know how much money was in your bank account, let's start there. So I checked my bank account every morning, and it turned out to be I did it for like 75 days. I told myself do it for 30 days. I did it for 75 days. But then it's like, okay, this is great and all, but like I'm not seeing any results. Like now I'm way more aware of how much money's in my bank account, but I need to know what's going on. So now it's like, you know, am I making money each month, losing money, right? Like I had no idea what was happening in my finances. Like, is it going up? Is it going down? Like all this stuff. And then it's like, well, where am I spending money? And this is what turned into like budgeting essentially, right? And I'm definitely going to get to the debt part of this in a second. But first, it's important to know like that this is a journey, and it's just not going to happen tomorrow. I think everyone really wants it to happen tomorrow, obviously, or next month. But it's not ideal. Like if you have $43,000 of debt, like I did, it's not just going to go away tomorrow, unless you're very rich and you've just been sitting on it and you look at your bank account like, oh, I could just get rid of all this debt right now, right? Not many people can do that. So I started budgeting, and then it still didn't really feel like any progress was being made. Like I was still like at the end of the month, at end of month, no extra money. It's like this whole like budgeting thing. I would use the phrase like, oh, it's not working. The budgeting thing doesn't work. It doesn't work, which is obviously not true, right? Because people budget. So how do we make it work? Well, I just came up with this idea. I was like, well, what if I just like, okay, now I see where I'm spending my money. What if I spent my time and my money and all my resources that I do currently have towards things that matter the most? So then it's like, okay, well, what matters the most? It's like, all right, well, I have to make a list. And now I call this North Star goals. I didn't know what this was back then. I wasn't thinking about it in terms of like how to teach other people to do it, because if 10 years ago I knew that I was going to be making content around personal finances and have a community around personal finances, I would have definitely been documenting all the stuff. So it's been really hard recently to think back to all of these moments and really think like what I was thinking and all this stuff. So how the North Star goals works is you make a list of the things that matter to you the most. This could be life stuff, it could be financial goals, it could just be non-negotiables. Okay, whatever that is for you. So life stuff could be like maybe you have some fitness goals. Financial goals is like, hey, yeah, I want to pay off the debt, right? Non-negotiables. I always spell this wrong. How do you spell this? I don't know. Someone will tell me down in the comments. I'm a numbers guy, not a words guy. You guys know what I'm trying to do though. And so for non-negotiables, I have a funny story where someone that I was helping on his North Star goal list. He wrote expensive haircuts, and I was like, what are we doing here? What is this? And he's like, well, my family and I have been going to this guy for about 2 decades now. He's essentially family, but he charges $80 for a haircut every time we go. Now I could go to like a Supercuts thing or Sport Clips or whatever and spend 20-30 bucks on a haircut, but this guy's like basically family to me, and it's kind of a non-negotiable. And he started getting this tone like he was defending the decision, and I was like my guy, like this is your list, so if you want to keep going to this guy for what you're saying are expensive haircuts, then you got to keep doing that. So that's what non-negotiables means to me. And then once we do that, how do we realign the goals to the resources? How do we do that? Well, again, we only have limited resources. Even the most rich people in the world only have limited resources. So how do we make the most of it? Well, everything not on this North Star goal list, we're now giving ourselves permission to ignore and reduce. And what I don't want people to think to do is when you budget, and I think that's why it doesn't work for people and why it didn't work for me back in the day, is because we think of budgeting as like, oh man, it's this restrictive action. I have to just cut all my categories. It's like, okay, whatever I'm spending in every category, I need to cut a little bit to be able to find a little extra money to pay off the debt, to do all these things, right? And it's just like this unsustainable process where you're living on like literally rice and beans. You got no wiggle room at all for any sort of mistakes or any sort of like splurges that occur in life or any sort of unexpected expenses. And what happens is you do it for 1 or 2 months, something happens and you lose all that momentum and it's just deflating, right? Let me know if this is feeling real for you guys. And then you have to start the process over again. But it takes you a couple months to start the process over again because you're like, oh, you just feel so defeated and you're like, this isn't working. What's going on? But if we say like, okay, so let's just use a couple examples to keep it simple. My most important things are, this is just a random example. It's like, okay, fitness. It's like, okay, well, I'm only spending $20 a month on this based on my gym membership because I was trying to be like cheap with it. But really, if it's so important to me, I need to be spending more money on it. Maybe that means more classes. Maybe that means, I don't know, supplements, whatever the things are, right? I need to go to the gym more, spend more time there. Okay, financial goals. Well, if I want to pay off debt faster, I should probably be applying more money towards my debt. I should probably be spending more time thinking about my debt, writing down my debt, looking at it on a regular basis, getting pissed off when I'm seeing all this stuff and trying to get rid of it, right? And then non-negotiables, whatever those are, expensive haircuts, right? And then you take those things, and that's what we pay first. So we pay for like obviously like the roof over your head, your utilities, right? All the stuff that we need to live, groceries, right? And then immediately after that, it's your North Star goals. And then what's left over is going to be stuff that you're telling yourself you care about less because it's not on your North Star goal list. So like, is food delivery super convenient? You better believe it is. But I'm assuming that fast food, or not fast food, like food being delivered quickly to your door after 3 button presses on your phone is not going to be on most people's North Star goal list, right? So for me, what this looked like when I was paying off the debt was like, oh, wow, okay, so we have a ton of debt, and this is now me and my wife. What do we do? Well, when we went through this process, one of the things that we had on this list was a very important life stuff thing, where it was like, man, we want to have kids. So we were like, we have to look at anything in our life, even our like relationship, but like our money, like what are the bad things that are occurring right now? And then how do we confront those things and change them, ideally before we have kids, but if not, like on the path to do it, that way, the stuff's gone. So for us, it was the debt was a big thing, debt. And it's like, well, how intentional are we being with the debt? Well, not very. Why does this keep happening? Not very, right? I was just going to underline it, but whatever. We were not being intentional. We were making minimum payments. Occasionally, we maybe get a bonus or something at work. We throw a couple $100 extra at it, whatever, right? But we weren't being intentional. It's like, so if we pile our resources into this, which at the time was one of our North Star goals, like let's just get rid of it. It was a life stuff thing because of the kids, the future kids. We now have 2, and then a financial goals thing. So what we ended up doing was we're not spending any time thinking about this or doing this. So we set up a monthly meeting, which occurred on our couch in our living room, in a laptop, right? We use a laptop with a spreadsheet, laptop/spreadsheet. And we just simply wrote down all of the debts that we had every month, the total balance. And then the next month, we'd go to the spreadsheet and we'd see how much was left in each of them. Now, why this was important, this was only a 5 or 10 minute meeting, but now we were more aware of what was going on. And once we started to see a little progress, it was very motivating to keep going and and it was so much easier for us to like keep realigning to this because it's like, okay, it's working. How do we double down on this? How do we triple down on this? And we ended up saying no to a lot of life stuff. We said no to friends and family. We said no to things that were going to cost us money. Now, at the time, we made a bunch of excuses as to why. It's like, oh, one of us is sick, or oh, yeah, we actually have other plans this weekend. So sorry. But really, we should have just been like, nah, we're actually just trying to get rid of our debt. And that would just, I think we were like dishonest because it's very hard to be honest, especially when we know that people wouldn't understand. Because like, it's very common for people to just be in debt. Like that's like the norm these days. Like the average person doesn't even have like $1,000 or $2,000, right, in their bank account for like savings or whatever. The average person in America is divorced. The average person in America is overweight. So like average is pretty subpar. So like when it's about something kind of off the cuff and like kind of like we were going hard on the debt and just we didn't think people would understand it. But what we ended up doing, and we didn't know this at the time, but we used the debt snowball method to pay off the debt. And what this is prioritizing debts from smallest to largest. So how this looks, if you're not familiar with it, not the dent snowball method. What you do is you make minimums on all of your debt payments, and then any additional money that you're applying towards the debt, you put it all towards the smallest loan amount. Now, why we did this was because we had 12 loans. 12 loans, guys. 12 loans. I wouldn't recommend 12. It's like super a lot. Okay. And 4 of those, 4 were, I think it was like $1,200 or less. So we're like, man, if we can get rid of 4 of these, we go from 12 loans to 8 loans, and however long that takes us, it takes us, but we just get rid of a third of our obligations, right? Not in dollars, but just in like creditors, right? And we ended up getting rid of these pretty quickly because we just dumped everything we had into this process. And how this process works is once you pay off that first loan using the snowball method, all that money that you apply towards that first one, you roll into this next smallest. So you keep paying minimums on everything and you keep rolling it forward. So let's say we paid, I don't know, $500 for the first one. We were making minimums on everything else. And then once that first one was paid off, then that $500 got rolled into the next one. So now for the next one, we were still making that minimum payment and we were doing the $500, right? So that stacks on that one. And then everything that we were paying for the first 2 gets rolled into the next one. And then it keeps stacking and stacking. And eventually at the end of this, we were paying like thousands of dollars a month towards this because it just like kept stacking up. And it was like, wow. So again, I'm not saying that this timeline is going to happen for you, but I just know if you take effort and you start making awareness decisions. So like me checking my bank account did nothing, right? Simply just opening up a laptop on our couch did nothing, but like we had to take action. We had to like strategize of where we're going to put the money. So first step is awareness, and then action, and then accountability. How can we do this month after month after month? This monthly meeting took 5 or 10 minutes. Now, did my wife eye roll every time we had to do it? Yes, of course. But we're very happy that we did it now. And, now we have 2 kids and it's like we are debt free except for our mortgage, which is pretty cool. And now that's a goal that we're working on. How do we pump more money into that to get rid of that? Because I think for us, we'd feel pretty financially free if we got rid of our mortgage and then all we had to deal with was property tax and homeowners insurance, right? That would be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick. So that's something that we're looking forward to. Now, this whole process is something that I share inside this community. For this 2-day cash flow kickstart that I'm doing in here. So basically it's the same idea. It's like, I'm going to help you understand where your money's been going. So awareness, how to realign your money to the things that matter the most, action, and then how to keep that momentum month after month, accountability. All 3 of those things are critical when doing anything, really, I would say in life, but since I'm not a life expert, let's stick to personal finances. Think of it like a 3-legged stool. So if you sit down and one of those legs breaks or isn't there, you're definitely going to fall off, right? Now, if only one's there, you're not even going to look at it to think to sit because you're like, oh, is this broken? What's going on here, right? So all 3 are required. And I'm doing these as like group calls. You can see on the calendar here that I've been doing them every week. I sort of remove them to avoid confusion, but I have them all set up through October. So you can see here I have a day 1. So they're 30-minute calls, guys. So it's day 1. We're going to talk about basically awareness and action. And then in between the calls, you have a small little action step, a little homework to do. And then call 3 is how can we make this sustainable for ourselves month after month after month. Okay. This is a completely free thing to do. And I've been seeing some cool progress in here. So really excited for that. But anyway, guys, I'm doing these videos daily. If you have some ideas of what you want me to talk about, things that you're struggling with, because I'm making these videos for you guys at the end of the day. And it would be great if I got some feedback, like what you guys actually want to watch or whatever. So if that's interesting for you, let me know. And school.com/debt. The link is down below this video to join the community. If not, I'll see you tomorrow.